Yo, peace. This is Shalom Zoe bringing you a brand new flavor episode called There's Nothing New Under the Sun Part 2. We do not own none of the copyrights, none of the music, image, or videos that's being displayed today. This is just for knowledge purposes. Please pass it along.
We believe that separation is the best way and the only sensible way, not integration. But on the other hand, when we see our people being brutalized by white bigots, white racists, we think that they are foolish to allow themselves to be beaten and brutalized and do nothing whatsoever to protect themselves. They are foolish. They should have the right to defend themselves against any attack made against them by anyone. If a dog is biting a black man, the black man should kill the dog. Whether the dog is a police dog, a hound dog, or any kind of dog. If a dog is sick on a black man, when that black man is doing nothing but trying to take advantage of what the government says is supposed to be his, then that black man should kill that dog or any two-legged dog who sicks the dog on him.
Should other black men help that particular person who was attacked?
I think you'll find, sir, that there will come a time when black people wake up and become intellectually independent enough to think for themselves, as other humans are intellectually independent enough to think for themselves. Then the black man will think like a black man, and he will feel for other black people. And this new thinking and feeling will cause black people to stick together. And then at that point, you'll have a situation where when you attack one black man, you are attacking all black men. And this type of black thinking will cause all black people to stick together. And this type of thinking also will bring an end to the brutality inflicted upon black people by white people. And it is the only thing that will bring an end to it. No federal court, state court, or city court will bring an end to it. It's something that the black man has to bring an end to himself.
You ever notice how America is little wrong? How the same structure that's set up in Rome is the same structure that's almost set up in America, with the president being like Caesar or the emperor, the Pharisees being the political parties, and the Jews, the people of the slums, being the chosen people, being pretty much us. It's just all kind of ways how America and Rome is so alike. I'm about to play two interviews of two gentlemen that's gonna be breaking down pretty much what's going on today, and pretty much how we're distracted with the tactic of Rome and how that they brung it over from Europe and they're oppressing us with it today. And it's just crazy that it's nothing new under the sun. So I felt like I should give y'all a part 2 just to pretty much break down on what's going on. And you got to listen to these two people that I'm about to play for y'all, because they done already took these videos down from YouTube already. It was hard to find these, but check out what he's saying and pay close attention to how he's breaking it down.
That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player on one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive, and when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor? He sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games.
Now I'm gonna hold it right there real quick. If you can go back and just think of what just happened in the past 6 months or so, we was hit with a big pandemic called the COVID-19 Act. I'm gonna call it an act. We was hit with the COVID-19 virus, and then we was hit with pretty much police brutality on people of color. Now, during that time, the people of color was pretty much getting together to stand for one cause, pretty much. You even had the athletes and the celebrities backing us up and supporting us as well. And guess what Caesar do? Or should I say the president? Or should I say the United States? Or should I say Rome? Guess what Rome do? Rome starts up its games. It starts up the NBA. It started up Major League Baseball. It started up, Sunday and Monday Night Football to pretty much distract us from the bigger picture or the problem at hand. It's almost like they put it in front of us to see if we'll catch it, but we never do. I'm going to bring it back a little bit so you can see what he said, but it's all true. Don't get me wrong. I'm one of the people that was rooting for LeBron James and the Lakers as well. But at the same time, what was the bigger picture? What should have been a bigger focus? It shouldn't have been LeBron winning the ring. It should have been liberation or equality for our people. But listen to what he said.
When the people become restive, and when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor, he sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world.
Exactly.
So that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is. So they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being.
Now, I was always told that they called the weekend the weekend of the week because you work like a slave Monday through Friday. By the weekend, you're weekend. You get what I'm saying? But pretty much he's saying that you're going to be so busy with working all day, and then you coming home and you watching these sports, you ain't going to have the time to question what Caesar is doing or what Rome is doing. That's why these games is in front of you. That's why they go and they made the NBA and made the bubble during the time of supposedly a pandemic that the whole world was locked down for. It never happened ever, man. But let's see what he says some more.
That don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world. So that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is. So they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated. So they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets. And they think that's a great accomplishment. And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets.
How many people y'all know like that? I got people that I work with like that, man. These people can tell you everything Jordan did since he came into the league, but they don't know their fourth grandmother. You know what I'm saying? They don't know their indigenous tribe. They don't know that their roots started in America and not Africa, but they can tell you every number these professional athletes have, man. It just shows you the energy that we put into these sports can be going in so many other directions. We can be doing so much more, But yeah, come on.
Accomplishment. And they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's really sad.
Is there any room in a kind of society where these manipulations are not taking place for this type of entertainment or any type of entertainment at all?
If people understand that a game is a game, if people understand that nobody, no matter what they do, is worth paying $2 or $3 million a year for, people should be able to get rich if they want to, by the sweat of their individual labor. Okay? By going out and doing something for the world. Not by taking people's minds away from the emperor.
Exactly.
It's a game. Football's a game.
Nah, just listen to what he's saying, man. Listen to what he's saying. They paying these athletes all this money. Now, you got to think. Growing up in the slums where we come from, we see all these athletes making millions of dollars. We see all these rappers making millions of dollars. We're not looking forward to nothing but that. It's so many people in our neighborhoods growing up want to be the athlete that make all these monies, want to be the rapper that make all this money, and they aim for that. And once that fall through and don't make it, we end up falling flat on our face and end up coming right back to the hood. You know, they got us going after these dreams, and these dreams is doing nothing but keeping us asleep. You got to think, you got to be asleep to be dreaming. The American dream is a joke. I'm telling you, they got these athletes, which is our best warriors as well. You got to think, they got 250 or 300, 400 of the best, strongest, fastest men of the world running up and down the field playing football and basketball. Those are our warriors. Distracted by pigskin, distracted by Rome games, by Rome circus. It's insane, man, when you look at it. And you got to think, we dominate these sports. So our strongest man, you know, is playing basketball. Shaq was 7'2", 7'3". You know what I'm saying? Imagine going against an army of Shaqs. And we got people that's that size, LeBron James size, Shaq size. You know what I'm saying? Like, these is people that's large in size, and in numbers, it would be scary to them. And you see the reason why they gotta go and distract our warriors is because if our warriors is distracted, we really have no physical way of fighting back. But it's really a psyche game, man. Hold on, I don't want to talk too much. I did already, but I'm gonna bring it back a little bit and play it. Here it go.
Okay. By going out and doing something for the world. Not by taking people's minds away from the emperor. It's a game. Football's a game. Football's a game. But let me tell you something. When 150 of the most powerful men and women in the world can meet in secret in Baden-Baden, Germany, and plot the fate of billions, and nobody even cares about it. But 6 football players go to lunch together, and it's in the headlines across the country. You have a reflection of the society in which that exists. And it is a sick society that it's doomed to self-destruction.
Yes. And it also reflect fake news. They never gonna post the stuff that you should be looking at. They gonna post the stuff that they want you to be afraid of. Hold up, I got another video I want y'all to check out. It's this Soviet Union dude, man. He pretty much, this Nazi dude, pretty much breaking down how they was coming to America to pretty much take it over. You know, pretty much to make the Indians, us Aboriginals of America, forget our culture, forget our language, forget who we are, and pretty much submit to white supremacy, pretty much. So here we go. Let's check it out. Here we go.
Mr. Bezmenov was born in 1939 in a suburb of Moscow. He was the son of a high-ranking Soviet Army officer. He was educated in the elite schools inside the Soviet Union and became an expert in Indian culture and Indian languages. He had an outstanding career with Novosti, which was and still is, I should say, the press arm or the press agency of the Soviet Union. It turns out that this is also a front for the KGB. He escaped to the West in 1970 after becoming totally disgusted with the Soviet system, and he did this at great risk to his life. He certainly is one of the world's outstanding experts on the subject of Soviet propaganda and
Hold up, man. Don't it seem like all the Soviet Union, like mad, like you ever heard of the Soviet Union mad scientists and stuff? It seemed like these people always got away or just disappeared. Like even Hitler, bro. Like they never found Hitler's body, bro. Like I don't know. I could be wild. I don't know.
information and active measures. Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare.
Psychological warfare. I'm telling you, bro. They came over here and they start fucking with our psyches, man. Excuse my language, man. I try to make these videos for kids, but they start messing with our psyches, man. And that's the reason why we lost, because we forgot who the hell we was. That's why we lost.
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
Sound like us, right? Like, regardless of how much marching we do, how much protesting we do, black people can't seem to come to a conclusion or a solution to the problem. Yeah, it sound like that. Sound
no
like
one
the same
is
thing.
able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in four basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which
I gotta give you the years. I'm gonna bring it back.
The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a
15 to
nation.
20 years to do
Why
this.
that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology.
So they expose the ideology of the enemy, pretty much. They remove it. So it take 15 to 20 years to do this, because first you got to go and take a child and put them in school and strip them from everything they've been taught as a child, because you can't have no grown person in there that's stuck in their ways that already know who they is. You can't brainwash them. So they taking these kids, pretty much, they put them in these boarding schools. I know you got to look up these Indian boarding schools. They put them in these boarding schools and they stripping them from their culture, their history, and their language. And then they force their culture on them. They force their ideology on them. You know, Christianity and white Jesus. You know, they force that on them and force us to believe it. I'm you finna break it all down. I'm gonna stopping it, man. I can't believe this video is out.
In the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being
3 generations. You get what I'm saying? That's why you can go to your mama or some of y'all grandmothers and they still think that they African, because this been going on for generations. You see, this video came out in 1983 and he's saying it take 15 to 20 years to do this. So, you know, anybody that's born before, after 1940, you pretty much already been brainwashed and went through this demoralization system, or, you know what I'm saying, program. Because we all was programmed to believe in white Jesus and to think that we're African. Come on. I'm gonna bring it back some. I'm gonna put it.
Of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already.
Damn.
For the last 25 years.
Bro, it's been completed over here since the last 25 years. This videos came out in 1980. He's saying they done. They already finished brainwashing us.
The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years.
Wow.
Actually, it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success.
They didn't think they was gonna be this successful. As you see, they couldn't even dream of being as successful as they was over here. Some of us is truly laying down, man. We falling for the okie doke, man, and it's making them rich.
Now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore.
Now listen to what he about to say. Exposure to true information don't matter no more. That's why they allowing us to find all this information on the internet and these archives and these documents. It's not locked up in the vault no more, man. It's out here for everybody to find. But let me tell you why they're not afraid to let the truth sit out here. Here we go.
Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him.
Wow.
Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it.
Wow. Almost sound like some of the people on the social media sites today, right? Regardless of all the truth we show them, man, they would never believe it, bro. They went through this system and their psyche is completely off, as you see. This dude is telling you, regardless of all the truth that you show somebody, you can show them, you can bring them to the area and show them face to face and they still won't believe it. They won't believe, bro. You can show them that it's no such thing as white Jesus and the letter J is only 500 years old, so the name Jesus didn't even exist, but they won't believe it. Grandma not believing that, man. She too far into the system already. Thank the Most High that we able to wake up out of some of this, you know?
Information with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures. Even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the...
Also, when they send y'all back on a boat to Africa for claiming to be African, then y'all realize that it's been a mistake, right? Like, that's pretty much what he's saying, bro. We not gonna realize that we making the false move until it's too late, until we already in trouble. We can't keep falling for this, man. There's nothing new under the sun, part 2.
Tragic of the situation of demoralization. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore.
So your health, so the health of the people don't matter no more. They're not worried about healthy people or healthy citizens, man. That's not a concern of theirs.
Destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation.
Quick.
It's what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast.
Can't believe how brainwashed we is.
The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to...
The next step is number 3, and it's crisis. Like I told y'all in the beginning of the video, the coronavirus, man. It's no surprise, man. And they said it takes 6 weeks. All it took was 6 to 8 weeks for them to lock everything down, bro. They going by the same book, the same guidelines, man. And this is why I had to go and just drop this and just call it Nothing New Under the Sun Part 2. Because everywhere that I seen this video at, they've been taking it down. Because people has been putting 2 and 2 together. You can't hide this no more, man. 6 weeks for crisis. And guess what they do after crisis, man? Listen.
The process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power structure.
The violent change of power and structure is not violent right now. But what's going on right now during the time of crisis? The presidential election. You think they stupid, bro? They doing this for a reason. This way, your pick has nothing to do with the facts of the candidate. You making emotional decisions because you in the pandemic. Every decision that you make in the pandemic has nothing to do with facts. It has everything to do with survival, which you would think will cause us to make the better decision, but it don't. It's the reason why they had the presidential election at the same time when they released this coronavirus BS.
To the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely.
Normalization that will last indefinitely, bro. You know what's normalization in the hood? Seeing the red tape going from pole to pole. Normalization. That's not normal to some people, but it's normal to us in Chicago. Seeing people die. Friends dropping. Innocent friends dropping. Normalized. People seeing it, and it's not causing us to go and have a big reaction. I was just telling my guy the other day that Fred Hampton was only 23 years old leading the Black Panthers, bro. He had that fire at 23. I got that fire now at 33. You see the difference? They was more riled up and for their people at an early age. We're asleep and we're waking up late. The fight is now. I would never tell you to go out there and just start acting wild and just shooting stuff up. That's never the way to fight. That never got us the way to fight. But they making things normalized to us now. So when we see black people getting killed by cops, it's not a big deal. We too tired to march now. When we see a little boy getting killed for having a hoodie, it's not a big deal. We let that dude walk around and don't touch him. Like, it's insane to me. Everything is normalized. If this stuff was happening during the times of the Black Panther party, man, stuff would have had to get done. And I'm not talking about riots. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We got two more minutes of this.
In Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth.
That's what's going on now, man. Broken promises, man. Broken promises. It's the same thing. No president has ever done anything, man. And it's never gonna change because it's their system. But he breaking it down for you, man. It can't be no clearer than this.
To destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in the United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation.
Whoa. Did y'all hear that? I'm gonna bring it back, man. Listen to what he's saying about these people that they got for the civil rights defense. They only there to bring us down. Listen.
It's all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders. They are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore.
Hold up, man. Now check this out, man. They bring in these heroes. I'm not gonna say no name. They bring in these heroes to come save you. And once they done leading you to a burning house, they not needed anymore. So if they not needed anymore, what do they do with these people? Do these people just disappear? Let's see what he say. Let's see, man. You lead somebody to a burning house. You ain't needed no more. Let me see.
When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power.
They know too much too. And now that you know too much, they'll never want you to get into power. So if they never want you to get into power, what they gonna do with you now that you're useless to them? I'm just saying, some of these heroes that we didn't hear in our history, fist this.
It will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they get disillusioned when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power. Obviously, they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But
anybody that they fear to come to power, they line up against the wall and shot. You know, the same thing they did to Abe Lincoln, right? They feared that he was going to eventually allow the Negroes to come to power, so they shot him and replaced him. You know, I'm just saying, I'm just putting stuff together, man. You know, Martin Luther King, they couldn't use him no more. He was starting to liberate us. They shot him. Malcolm X was just a loose bull. They couldn't handle him. They shot him. The Black Peace Party was trying to become a political party and could have actually won, since we are responsible for putting the Democrats into the White House. We could have actually done something with the Black Panther Party, but, you know, they was gunned down as well. Do you see the correlation? Do you see it, man? Let's wrap this up, man. I ain't trying to talk.
They get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmazov.
All over Europe.
Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere. The time bomb is ticking. That every second.
All right, man, that's pretty much it. You know, I do want to take the time out to thank everybody for tuning in to another episode of Brand New Flava. And man, yeah, I got more videos coming. As you see, I'm getting kind of good with this, you know. But y'all just be ready for some more heat, man. I got more heat on the way. I'm not playing, you know. I'm about to just unload videos on y'all. So, you know, I hope y'all ready, man. And remember, as always, peace and love.